beholders of the brain twisting out there, and welcome to More Than Meets the Eye, where we're uncovering the conspiracy fact the government doesn't want you to know about. As always, I'm your host, Alexander Sorochan, and this week we're taking a look at a theory that has been making the rounds on the internet the last few days. Now, I'm sure most, if not all of you dear viewers out there, know about the tragic Space Shuttle Challenger accident that occurred on January 28, 1986. But, as a quick refresher, the Challenger space shuttle had a catastrophic failure a mere 73 seconds into its planned flight. The disaster began right at takeoff when a joint in the right solid rocket booster, or SRB, failed and allowed burning pressurized gas to escape, which in turn led to the structural failure of the external fuel tank. Shortly thereafter, the shuttle broke up in the atmosphere and led to the tragic deaths of all 7 crew members. Or did it? Though this isn't the first time this theory has been making the rounds, it's the first time I've personally heard about it. And I must admit, there's a few things that really make me wonder. Basically, what it boils down to is that these astronauts were never on the Challenger when it launched, and have been living their lives in public view ever since.
It is fairly well assumed now that the astronauts survived the explosion.
It sounds crazy, I know, but bear with me a second. Here, let's take a look at a photo of the pilot of the Challenger shuttle, Mr. Michael J Smith, who held a master's in science and aeronautical engineering. And now, let's take a look at a picture of Michael J Smith, a retired professor of industrial and systems engineering from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. I mean, the resemblance, the name, and the similarity in job are pretty darn uncanny. But stranger things have happened, and in all honesty, if this was the only weird coincidence, I would probably just let it slide. There's a lot of people in this world, and even though the chances of them having the same name are a little suspicious, a doppelganger is bound to appear every now and then. But the thing is, it doesn't just end there. Why don't we take a look at the commander of the Challenger space shuttle, Francis Richard Scobie. And here, we have Richard Scobie, the CEO of an advertising company based out of Chicago. All I'm going to say is that one coincidence like this is uncanny. But 2 on the other hand, well, I'll leave it up to you to make up your own mind from there. As a little cherry on top, a man on YouTube who goes by the name StarsNotFar432 actually ended up tracking down Michael J. Smith, the retired professor, in January 2020 to ask him about this theory. And the video is quite intriguing. Why don't you take a look for yourself?
Hey there. Hey, sorry to bother you. I was pulling out and I saw you. I just came by to... Are you Michael Smith?
Yeah.
Professor at university?
Retired.
Retired?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just stopped by because there's this room. Are you aware of that? There's a rumor on the internet.
It's not me.
That people are saying.
Yeah, it's not me, obviously. I mean, anybody that looks at my background, looks where I was born, it's not me. I mean, it's interesting that the Michael J. Smith that was the astronaut looks something like me when we were younger, but really not, if you really look at facial recognition.
You never been a pilot, never been in the military?
Nothing like that.
Huh.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all.
And I don't respond to the emails I get. I get probably an email, maybe 2 a month.
Really?
And I got one guy that's been really hounding me, and I turned it over to the FBI.
Really?
You know, yeah. I mean, it's bullshit.
Okay.
You know, another crazy theory.
Okay.
But that's, you know, not me.
All right.
I'm glad I wasn't him, but he was quite a guy.
Yeah.
You know, but if you look at my career, you look at my CV that's online, all the stuff I've published, all that I've done, it's not even close to what that guy was.
Okay. Yeah, you just sure look a lot. It's the same name.
I know the facial thing, but that's what we looked like, what, 40 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Now, of course, he denies that he's the same Michael J. Smith, obviously, but there's something about his reaction to the questions that just sets my conspiracy senses a-tingling. It almost seems like he's reminiscing about his glory days as an astronaut, and his face just lights up, but then grows colder as he talks about his real life. On top of that, after Stars Not Far 432 asks the questions, he's fully prepared to leave, but Smith keeps furthering the conversation, saying stuff like, what a guy he was, and things of that nature. If Smith has been hounded by people over this theory, and it's untrue, you would think he would just be trying to get out of the conversation, but it's almost as if he wants to talk about it, but can't. Now, if this theory is true, it really leaves one question. Why would NASA, at the end of the Cold War, purposefully destroy a shuttle as it launched, then allow these astronauts who were supposed to be on it to live their lives under their same names? And I don't have an answer for the first part of that, but for letting the astronauts go on with almost identical lives? Maybe it's one of those things where it's just so obvious that no one would question it. But that's all the time we have for this week, folks. This is one of those stories that on paper looks so ridiculous, but everything seems to point in one direction. If you like our content and want to see more from the Keep Times, make sure to check out our Patreon. And remember, there's